Fate of the Furious is the 8th installment into the Fast and Furious franchise, and this film is directed by F. Gary Gray, who also directed movies such as Straight Outta Compton and Friday. And this movie once again follows our crew that we have grown to know and love as they try to stop a cyber terrorist who's portrayed by Charlize Theron. And they attempt to stop her as she tries to acquire multiple weapons of mass destruction. The only catch is that she has managed to somehow gain control of the group's leader, Dominic Toretto. Now, before I even get started for this review, I think that it's important for you as an audience to classify yourself and to see which category you go into as far as the Fast and Furious franchise is concerned. The first group is the people that do enjoy these movies. They love these films, but they're well aware of how dumb and absurd they are, but that's why they love these films, because this series embraces that. Or there's the people that are actually serious fans of this series and that actually think that these films are actually quality action movies and that love the characters and love the stakes and love every single film in this series. And then you have the people that think these movies suck. They can't buy into any of the characters. They can't suspend their disbelief because what they're seeing on screen is so absurd. For me, I'm the type of person that truly does enjoy these movies, but I also understand that you have to turn your brain off to enjoy them. So I wouldn't really classify this series as great action films. I would classify them as fun action films, but I can't consider them great considering that you have to turn your brain off in order to enjoy them. But regardless if you like these films just because they think they're fun, or you actually legitimately think that they're good movies, you will really love this film. In fact, this is my favorite Fast and Furious film since Fast 5. There are actually a lot of things that make this movie as good as it is. For one, when you go to see these Fast and Furious films, what you try to go see is just overblown, ridiculous action set pieces, and oh boy does this movie deliver. There's one scene in particular that takes place in New York, and it involves all these cars that are being remotely controlled, and it is just balls to the wall insane. So much so that if you just step back and just say, I can't believe I'm watching this right now, you just can't help but laugh. But not in a bad way. What's so great about these films is they're so gleefully aware of how absurd they are. And they embrace that, which is fantastic, because the worst thing that could happen to these movies is they take themselves too seriously. But this film doesn't do that at all. It is so much fun. In fact, one of my favorite sequences in this entire series is in this film. It involves Jason Statham and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in a prison. It is so well done. It is so entertaining. It is just so great. I would go see this film again just to watch that scene. And like I said, if you love this series and you legitimately think that these are good action movies, then you won't be disappointed either. In fact, I think Fate of the Furious is the second best film in this series. What this movie does that the other films don't do is this film actually feels like it has stakes to it. And as a whole, I just found this film to be much more memorable than 6 and 7. There's only a few that I can actually tell you what happens from A to B to C, and I feel like this is one of those films. Unfortunately, if you're one of those people that cannot stand this series and just cannot suspend your disbelief and just think that these movies are too silly, then you're gonna probably hate this one as well. Like I said before, this movie does exactly what its predecessors do. I just think that it personally does it a little bit better, but if you don't like this series, there's tons of plot holes in this movie. There are tons of these action set pieces that everybody should die in, but of course, people leave with minor scrapes and bruises. And to make matters worse, this is nearly a 2.5 hour long film. In fact, that's my biggest problem with the Fate of the Furious. In the future, when I want to see myself rewatch this movie, the thing that's going to make me question whether or not to rewatch it is the length. This is a long freaking movie. And it's not that I was ever bored in this movie, I just feel like it probably could have cut to the chase a little bit sooner than it did. Another problem that I had with this film is one of the selling points for me personally is I went into this film wanting to know, why was Dom betraying the family? He's never supposed to do that. And his motivations for doing this are revealed fairly early into the movie, and that really killed a lot of the suspense and a lot of the intrigue that this movie had going for it. Whereas if we as an audience member would have been left in the dark a little bit and still be wondering, why is Dom doing this, then I would have been much more intrigued than I was. Overall, if you're a big fan of the Fast and Furious franchise for whatever reason, you will love this movie. This film delivers on all cylinders, no pun intended. This is a tried and true, ridiculous, fun action film that if you aren't a big fan of, then unfortunately I would probably seek out another film. But if you are on board and you love these movies, I absolutely would go see The Fate of the Furious. So did you guys see The Fate of the Furious? What did you think about it? Leave your thoughts and opinions down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you liked today's video. And if you did, click on the link down below and subscribe to my channel for more movie reviews and movie related things. And guys, thank you so much for watching and see you next time.